Hey guys, this is Gabe, and today I'm going to be reviewing the first 4 seasons of Stranger Things. As I wait impatiently for the trailer for season 5, I've been rewatching each season almost monthly. It's not exactly unpopular to say the show is amazing. It's got great characters, some stunning visuals, an amazing soundtrack, great editing, and a very talented cast. So today I will be explaining what I love and what I don't love about each season of Stranger Things. This will be interesting since I've never reviewed a TV show before. I'm really excited to get into it. Let's do this. There will be spoilers in these reviews, by the way. Starting off the show, we have the absolute powerhouse, says Season 1. This season follows Joyce Byers as her son Will goes missing. As Will's friends, their siblings, and the adults go searching for clues as to what happened, it becomes clearer and clearer throughout the season that something supernatural is going on. I'll start this off by saying this cast is incredible. All of them are at their best here. Winona Ryder gives her best performance this season. While she still does a pretty good job throughout the rest, nothing compares to her acting in this season. I think every cast member is amazing here, but my highlights this season are Winona Ryder, obviously, David Harbour, Millie Bobby Brown, Finn Wolfhard, and Charlie Heaton. David Harbour makes Hopper such a memorable, fun character in just this first season, and I think his character is one of the better ones. Millie Bobby Brown gives a surprisingly great performance as Eleven here, even if her acting is just kind of the same throughout the rest of the show. Throughout the years, I became a fan of Finn Wolfhard. I like his humor, and I think his season 1 performance was some of his best work. He really gives it his all here. Charlie Heaton is also great as Jonathan, especially in this season. I think this season, more than the rest, is where his acting really shines. I also just really love the characters. My favorites this season are Joyce, Hopper, Mike, and Dustin. Not to say the rest aren't great as well, I just wasn't as invested in them. The soundtrack is fantastic, but that goes without saying. It's not something I'll bring up for the rest of the seasons, because all I can say is they one-up themselves each season with the soundtrack. The mystery and horror aspects were something I really enjoyed this season as well. I wish they were more present in the following seasons, although season 2 came decently close to matching it. But anyways, there we go. Stranger Things season 1 is a really great season. The horror mystery, the fantastic cast, joyous soundtrack, and well-written characters make it to what I believe to be the best season of the show. Not to undermine the following seasons, I just think they haven't topped it yet. Anyways, on to the next season. Following up the absolute masterpiece that is season 1, we have the excellent second season. This season picks up 1 year after the events of season 1 and follows Will, who thankfully remains a really big focus this season, as he experiences the after effects of being stuck in the Upside Down for a week. At the same time, there's also an X-Men subplot with Eleven, but we'll get more into that later. I'll start off by saying that the acting might be even better than in season 1. My highlights for this season are David Harbour, Finn Wolfhard, Joe Keery, and especially Noah Schnapp. This season might be the best performance Noah Schnapp has ever given in his career, and I hope he's able to reach these heights again in season 5. He really makes Will such a memorable, likable character from the beginning. David Harbour continues to make Hopper such a great character. Even if he has a bit of a temper, it was present in season 1, and from some moments is pretty funny. He's also just a really cool character. I like watching him punch people each season, it's so fun. It makes him one of my favorites. Finn Wolfhard also gives what might be his best performance in the show, probably even his career. His emotional scenes are performed so well, even if he's a bit too sidelined this season, his performance was still very good. I just wish they gave Mike more to do this season. It's been said a lot that Steve has the best character development in the show, and it's absolutely true. He goes from this bully character to someone who might legit be the most likable character in the show. Also, Steve and Dustin remains my favorite duo in the show. You just can't go wrong with it. I've seen some people hating on him because he's so popular, but even if it is true that the fanbase does praise him quite a bit, we need to stop letting popularity ruin our opinions on things. He is a great character. Also, Max and Billy enter the show here. I didn't like Max at all this season, to be honest, but I felt like her character development was well done, and as of rewatches, I've come to like her more. Billy, on the other hand, I will never like. He's a racist abuser, and I don't understand why people cried when he died. He had maybe 2 seconds of redemption. That is not enough to make up for the things that he did. I understand he was abused, but that's not an excuse, it's just an explanation. I also really like this season's darker tone. It feels more mature compared to season 1, and the Halloween theme was a nice touch. Also, this season is also where some of the faults begin. For starters, the pacing is very slow to a noticeable degree. I felt that Nancy and Jonathan's B-plot was a bit unnecessary at times, and even though it did have a satisfying payoff, I liked them as a couple, but they should have had a better story here. Also, the X-Men subplot is just stupid. The characters aside from Callie are unmemorable and not very fun to watch. Callie is such an interesting character, and I hope she returns in some capacity in season 5, but the rest of them are just unlikable and annoying. In conclusion, while Season 2 isn't as strong as Season 1, it's still a very great season. It's probably the closest to feeling like a natural follow-up to Season 1. It's more mature, the characters have great development, and the story is still a great mystery even if it isn't as strong. On to the next season. Now, on to what is probably the most different season of the show, Season 3. This season follows 4 different groups: the kids, the Scoops Troop, the teens, and the adults. The kids consist of Mike, Will, Lucas, Eleven, and Max, who discover that the Mind Flayer is back and they try to figure out a plan to stop him for good. The Scoops Troop consists of Dustin, Steve, newcomer Robin, and Lucas's young sister Erica, who was introduced in Season 2. They discover the Russians built an underground base under the Starcourt Mall. The teens consist of Jonathan and Nancy, who try to get a decent story for the newspaper or something. I really don't remember their subplot. The adults consisting of Hopper, Joyce Murray, and newcomer Russian Alexei, who are being hunted by the Russians after they try to figure out why Joyce's magnets won't stick to her fridge. No, seriously, that's not a joke. That's the actual subplot they have. I'm going to start with the negatives because this season might have the most negatives in the show for me. The Russian subplots are just stupid. They were hinted at in the first 2 seasons, but it felt like a Saturday morning cartoon at times here. I also don't believe for a second that the Scoops Troop could just sneak past a group of Russians. That is plot armor if I've ever seen it. Also, Will is way too sidelined here. How do you take who is essentially the main character of the first 2 seasons and give him basically nothing to do and very little dialogue like this? His character arc is okay, and I like the simple, effective ways they use to hint that he's gay, but that doesn't excuse them sidelining him like this. They should have given him more to do here instead of just making him into a plot device. Even Mike has too little to do. He went from this bullied nerd with a few friends who was dead set on finding his best friend while falling in love with Eleven, into essentially just Eleven's boyfriend. That's all he is here. And it's even sadder to think about when you remember they spend half the season broken up. Max was also kind of annoying here. She was just nagging Mike all season, and I kind of felt bad for him even if he wasn't exactly in the right all the time. They also absolutely ruined Hopper here, and it's disappointing to me that no one acknowledges or agrees with it. They took this quiet, heroic cop and turned him into the angry dad who hates his daughter's boyfriend. And I don't even want to get started on how immature he was all season. He was so annoying to Joyce. He says she stood him up, but if I remember correctly, she never verbally agreed to the date. He just kind of manipulated her into it. Hopper is such a manipulative, immature jerk this season, and I'm tired of everyone pretending he isn't. Not gonna lie though, I did get pretty sad when he, quote, died, even if it was a fake out. But that's enough negativity. Let's talk about the positives. The cast is still fantastic. My highlights this season are Joe Keery, Maya Hawke, and Dacre Montgomery. Not to say the rest did bad, but these 3 stood out the most to me. Maya Hawke makes Robin such an enjoyable new character. Her chemistry with Steve is so fun to watch, and the reveal of her being gay at the end of the season was subtle and really great. It also just cemented Steve as one of the most likable characters in the show with his reaction. Also, Dacre Montgomery killed it as Billy this season. His portrayal of the Mind Flayer possessing Billy was fantastic and at times terrifying. I genuinely hope he gets more roles like this because if this is anything to go off of, he's good to go when it comes to acting talent. The colors this season are gorgeous. I love the neon, colorful aesthetic here. I think it gives the show its most 80s look yet. The characters are still great, even if they ruined some of them. Eleven's arc in Season 2 sucked, but here it was a lot better. It was about her making her first female friend, being Max, and discovering herself without Mike. It was a nice, healthy character change that I appreciated. Also, the visuals for the Meat Flayer are just gorgeous. The first 2 seasons didn't exactly have the best CG, especially Season 2, because some shots look rough there. But Season 3 has some really stunning CG. Half the time I didn't even know it was. Overall, while I think it might be the weakest season of the show in terms of writing, I still think Season 3 is pretty great. The characters are still fun to watch, the summer feel to it was nice and refreshing, and the acting is still pretty solid even if it's not as great as before. The ending was genuinely emotional and I still cry every single time. The Byers moving out of Hawkins was genuinely a gut punch the first time, and it doesn't get any easier with each rewatch. It's definitely the most fun I've had with the show though. Anyways, on to the next season. Now, onto what is currently the latest season of the show in terms of release, Season 4. This season follows 4 different groups in different parts of the world. Hawkins, Nevada, California, and Russia. The Hawkins group consists of Max, Dustin, Steve, Robin, Nancy, Lucas, and newcomer Eddie, who discover a new villain named Vecna, who killed Eddie's friend Chrissy after an attempted drug deal. The Nevada group consists of Eleven, Dr. Owens, and a somehow still alive Dr. Brenner, who try to figure out a way to get Eleven's powers back since she lost them at the end of Season 3. The California group consists of Mike, Will, Jonathan, and newcomer Argyle, who spend the entire season looking for Eleven. That's pretty much their whole storyline here. It's kind of sad. And the Russia group consists of Joyce, Murray, Hopper, newcomers Enzo and Yuri, and the Russian government. Their story follows Joyce and Murray going to Russia to break a still alive Hopper out of a Russian prison with the help of Enzo, who's a corrupt prison guard. I think the biggest possible negative of the season is that it is way too overstuffed. There are too many characters to follow here, and unfortunately it sidelines some of the originals, mainly Mike, Will, and Jonathan. Even Lucas gets more ado than them, and throughout the first 3 seasons he probably had the least to do out of any of the groups. The Russia plotline is still stupid, and in this case just straight up boring. No joke, I just skip this plotline with most rewatches because it bores me so much. Eleven's plotline is okay once you figure out where it leads, but like the Russia plotline, it drags on so much and becomes boring pretty quickly. Also, I get that they try to go bigger with each season, but I feel like this season took it a bit too far. Maybe cool it down a little bit next season. Now, on to the positives. The Hawkins plotline is just perfect in my opinion. The characters have nice arcs, the Vecna mystery is interesting and connects well with Eleven's plotline in a fantastic twist near the end of the season, and we get more Dustin and Steve content. I love every scene where they interact, it is so good, pure TV magic right there. And as much as the California plotline is kind of filler, I liked it a little bit. It's mostly my liking of Mike, Will, and Jonathan, but Argyle is a hilarious new character who I wish would return for season 5, but sadly he won't. Will's sort of subtle coming out storyline was well done here, and it made me pretty sad near the end. Mike has definitely improved after season 3. I see a lot of people give him so much crap, mostly because he's presumably not into Will, but he's one of the few who actually apologizes when they do wrong. And it was nice seeing him and Will becoming friends again, best friends. I will not be talking about ships in this review because I don't want to start a war in the comments. This fanbase has ruined ships for me. Jonathan should have had more ado though. He has a nice bond with Argyle, and his scene in episode 9 with Will was nice, but that's about all I have to say for him this season. Vecna was just a fantastic villain for the show. The reveal in episode 7 blew my mind and made me really upset that I had to wait nearly 2 months to see what happened in the last 2 episodes. Please don't make me go through that again with season 5, just release it all in one go, please! Also, the visuals are the best they've ever been here, especially in this episode 4 Max scene, which might be the best scene in the entire show. Sadie Sink really showed her acting talent this season, and I'm still mad they didn't give her an Emmy. She deserved all the awards. I was also impressed to learn that Vecna wasn't completely a CGI creature. They used an actual costume for him and just put CGI over it to make some of the movements. Truly incredible work from the props team. And that finale, oh my gosh, that finale. It gives me chills every single time. The Hopper versus Demogorgon scene, the Mike confession scene, Max's death, it was insane. I'm really happy they chose to revive Max in the end, because otherwise it would have been pretty unsatisfying. Well, it was predictable that Eddie would die given the trend with previous side characters like Bob, a personal favorite of mine, and Alexi. I was hoping they'd twist it up this season and let Eddie survive. But no, they killed him in such a brutal, undeserving way. Also, I hope Robin and Vicky get together. They have such great chemistry. The last shot of the characters on the field is just peak television. One absolutely stellar ending of this season and a great setup for season 5, which will hopefully finally come out this year. In the end, Stranger Things is such an amazing show. It has great characters, a great soundtrack, amazing villains, and fantastic acting. While it does have its faults, I still think each season is amazing in its own right, and it's fun to watch through all of it at once. Please, Netflix, don't release season 5 in 2 parts. I can't take it. You already made me wait 3 years. I can't take this anymore. To rank each season with a score, I'd put season 3 in last with an 8 out of 10, season 2 in third with an 8.5, season 4 with a 9, and season 1 with a 9.5. Truly an excellent show, and I can't wait for season 5 to come out. I partly did this review because I don't want it to feel out of nowhere when I inevitably review season 5. But anyways, that's my review for the show. Now release the season 5 trailer already, you cowards! Anyways, thanks for watching.